welcome you to Omaha, Nebraska for Missouri Valley basketball on a Saturday night inside the CenturyLink Center, one of the premier basketball venues in the nation. A sellout crowd on hand for the 16th ranked Creighton Blue Jays welcoming the Redbirds of Illinois State. Alongside longtime coach and commentator Mark Adams, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Mark, let's take us right into the keys of the game in your one-on-one.
The top two scorers in the Missouri Valley Conference, a double-double machine. Jackie Carmichael has to play huge tonight as he makes up 25% of the Illinois State scoring in Valley play. And Doug McDermott, if I had a vote for Player of the Year right now, he would be the guy. 23.3 points per game, 51% from the three-point line. You're going to love him use the angles of the game to score tonight here in Omaha.
Let's take a look at your starting lineups. First for Illinois State, Johnny Hill runs the point with Tyler Brown and Brian Allen, the other guards. Carmichael, his 100th career start tonight, and John Wilkins starts his 7th straight. The team is 5-1 in the first 6. He's been in the first 5. And for Creighton, same starters all year for Greg McDermott. Grant Gibbs leads the Valley in assists. Austin Chapman and Jahens Manigat also in the backcourt. Greg Echenique, #1 in the conference in field goal percentage, and the Wooden Award finalist, Doug McDermott, coming in just 59 points shy of 2,000 points for his career. Your officials, Scott Thornley, Mike Thibodeau, and Jeff Campbell. And the Redbirds in there visiting red. Control the opening tip going right to left on your TV screen. Carmichael, first shot of the game. Off left, it'll go out of bounds, and it'll be Creighton basketball.
Surprised that there was no post touch on that first possession. I think this is a battle of wills in the paint tonight, and I believe Creighton will dump it down the paint on the very first possession.
Here's Gibbs. McDermott's first touch. Off the mark. The rebound goes to Brown. Here's Brian Allen. His shot off the mark, and Carmichael stole it from McDermott. It opens the score.
Well, there you see one of the ways that Jackie Carmichael can score. A great motor around the basket. Loose balls, offensive stickbacks. He is athletic.
And Mark, keep an eye on Doug McDermott. Looks like he took a shot in the eye, and he's still feeling the effects of that. Steal by Carmichael. Hill tried to leave it for John Wilkins and went out of bounds. First turnover for the Redbirds, and it's Creighton basketball. You see McDermott kind of blinking that eye a little bit. Second leading scorer in the nation. Will take more than a poke in the eye to keep him down.
Well, Illinois State has improved so much defensively over the last 6 ball games, and as you see, Doug McDermott just curl off the screen right there. One of the things he does great is read defenders. Defender was on his hip, he curled to the basket.
Averaging over 23 a game. Allen, short. McDermott, another rebound. It's an area of his game that often goes overlooked. He averages over 7 boards a game.
Now, one thing I can assure you, this is not going to be a 50-point game. There's going to be some points scored here tonight in Omaha.
Gibbs, long on the 3. Rebound to Carmichael.
The defense just sags in on Jackie Carmichael. Tough to create space in the paint.
Carmichael. 10-footer no good, but Wilkins gives him a fresh 35.
That's good defense by Creighton. Really took away that dribble penetration.
Hill. Redbirds struggling from the field in the opening moments. And that's an area, the defensive side of the basketball, where Greg McDermott really stressed his team needed to improve from last year's team to this year's team.
And Creighton has improved. However, 3-3 over the last 6. And they've been giving up about 43, 44% overall, which is more like their numbers from a season ago.
There's Austin Chapman, no good. The tip by McDermott is
underrated as a quick jumper. Doug McDermott fools you with his quickness in different ways.
Michael thought about it, puts it up.
Soft touch.
4 points for the top 2 scorers each in the MVC. There's the mid-post game from the All-American. Spins, draws contact, and he'll go to the line and shoot 2. First foul's going to go on number 13 in red, Wilkins.
Foul on number 13, John Wilkins. That's his first personal foul.
John Wilkins, the guy that has played very well for Illinois State. He was inserted in the starting lineup at a double-figure score. He's been getting about 4 or 5 rebounds per game. Matched up with Doug McDermott tonight. If he gets in foul trouble, bad news for Illinois State.
A rare miss from the line from Doug McDermott. He's an 87% free throw shooter. And Ethan Rogge, quite possibly the best 6th man in the Valley, checks in. He plays starters minutes, but loves his role coming off and firing threes for Greg McDermott's club.
He's so different than Gregory Echenique because he's a guy that roams the perimeter, wants the three-point shot, whereas Echenique is one of those guys gets down and dirty in the paint.
An early 5-4 lead for the homestanding Jays.
And Creighton doing a good job early of taking away dribble penetration routes to the basket.
Allen knocks down the 2-pointer. First 2 points of the game for someone other than Jackie Carmichael.
Now, Brian Allen, one of the 3 Redbirds that has gone for 30 in a basketball game this season. Only 3 teams have 3 guys that have gone for 30 in different games. Gonzaga and Providence, the other 2 programs.
They did it against UAB earlier in the season. McDermott, Rogge, off the mark. But Gibbs gets the offensive rebound. Manigas saves it. Rogge, no good, hits the deck. So does Doug. And there's going to be an Illinois State foul.
The foul on Illinois State's number 32, Jackie Carmichael.
Foul's going to be on Jackie Carmichael. Carmichael putting up eye-popping numbers, and were it not for Doug McDermott and his All-American numbers, we might be looking at the Missouri Valley Player of the Year in Jackie Carmichael.
Well, no question. He's a double-double guy. He's got a great motor, but so does that guy. Doug McDermott, I think what makes him special, besides the fact that he understands the angles of the game, he draws contact as well as anybody in the country and finds a way to get to the free throw line.
Let's give you an up-to-date look at the Missouri Valley standings. Everybody thought it was going to be Creighton and everybody else, but they've come back to the pack the last 6. They're only 3-3. Wichita State won today. They get their 20th win finally after 3 straight losses. But Indiana State has really been the revelation the last couple of weeks here in the Valley, making the case that this could be a 3-bid league in the NCAA tournament.
Indiana State took Creighton to the woodshed, winning by 19 points in Terre Haute, 76-57 earlier this week. And Jake Odom, the point guard for Indiana State, has the Sycamores playing at an extremely high level.
There's Greg McDermott, his 3rd season at Creighton, at Iowa State previously. Had a school record 29 wins a year ago and took the Blue Jays to their first NCAA tournament appearance since 2007. At this point, only Gonzaga and Michigan have more wins this year than his Creighton Blue Jays.
And of all the coaches hired in 2010, guess who has won the most games since that time? Greg McDermott.
And somewhere inside that huddle is a Hall of Famer from his Redbird playing days, Dan Muller, his first season as head coach at his alma mater. He led them to their last NCAA tournament appearance, which was way back in 1998. After that, he spent 12 years as an assistant to his former coach here at Illinois State, Kevin Stallings. That took place at Vanderbilt.
Well, Dan, one of those guys that's really taken over this program and put his footprint on the program. And Jackie Carmichael is that inside leader for Dan Muller. Every first-year coach needs a senior to step up and help him bring along the program. And Jackie Carmichael is that maturing factor on this basketball team.
You talk about a Jekyll and Hyde season. They start the Missouri Valley campaign 0-6, but look ahead a month and they go 5 of their last 6 to get themselves right back in the conversation. Preseason, they thought this was the second best team in the Valley.
Well, and that shows a young coach that's going to stand on his principles. Part of the reason they went into a spin because he suspended his second leading scorer in Tyler Brown. A little bit of brain surgery, but it worked out well. And now this is Jackie Carmichael's team and Dan Muller's team.
Here's Manigat, top of the key. Gibbs thought about using the Raggi screen, 8 to shoot. Raggi, top of the key, knocks it down. First 3 of the game for the number 1 3-point shooter in the Valley. And if you're just joining us, welcome into Omaha, Nebraska and CenturyLink Arena. Rich Hollenberg, Mark Adams. This is Missouri Valley basketball on a Saturday night. The top 2 offenses in the league going toe-to-toe. The homestanding Creighton Blue Jays and the Redbirds from Illinois State. Right now, it's Creighton with a 2-point lead, 8-6, 14:40 to go in the first.
McDermott won it. He got it. Well, he works the block again and draws contact. He stayed with that play, and stayed with that play.
And Mark, you get the sense that he sensed that he could take advantage of that matchup with number 22, John Eakey.
And he definitely did. I mean, we're coming off a missed shot instead of just hanging his head. He establishes post position again on the opposite side.
What has he improved from his sophomore year to this year?
His mid-range game, no question. He went out on the road, worked hard on his game. He went to LeBron James Skills Academy, among other camps throughout the summer, and he developed that little inside pivot where he could face and score and attack.
Both free throws good. 0-0, Greg Echenike checks back in as McDermott takes his first seat on the bench. Won't be for long, plays over 30 minutes a game. Substitutions for both head coaches at this point.
And there's Jackie Carmichael, number 32, matched up with Gregory Echenike. A lot of beef right there. Advantage, Jackie Carmichael.
And this is a one-on-one matchup that's given Carmichael fits over the last couple of seasons.
It's because Echenike is just so big and strong.
Dingman open for 3. Too strong. Rebound to Hill. The foul and the bucket for Johnny Hill. Number 44, the sophomore point guard out of Glendale Heights, Illinois, will go to the line, a chance to give the Redbirds the lead.
Johnny Hill in attack mode right there. Big key for Creighton tonight. Can they take away the dribble? Johnny Hill felt like he could, and he did.
This is his first season really transitioning into more of a point guard role for Dan Muller, and his first season as head coach, and the coaching staff likes what they've seen so far.
A year ago, Johnny Hill really sniffed the floor. And then Nick Moore transferred with Tim Jankovic, the former head coach at Illinois State, and Dan Muller suddenly did not have a point guard to go to, and Johnny Hill has filled that void.
Illinois State, probably the most dangerous 14-10 team coming into tonight that you could find in the country. Chapman got himself into a little trouble. It's going to be a jump ball possession. Creighton.
Well, Rich, you bring up a great point. This Illinois State team took Creighton into overtime in the Missouri Valley Championship last season in Arch Madness. They've got 85% of their scoring and over 90% of their rebounding returning on this basketball team. But Open Valley play 0-6. But now they've won 5 out of their last 6, the hottest team in the Valley.
Errant pass by Avery Dingman. Some miscommunication on the offensive end for Greg McDermott's club. And Greg is even-keeled a coach as you're going to find. 72 wins in this, his 3rd season. And you talk about a go-go mode of attack. This team can score with the best of them.
The top two scoring teams in the Missouri Valley. We've seen a lot of low-scoring games. I just don't think that's going to happen tonight.
There's Tyler Brown, averaging 16 a game, has yet to get on the scoreboard tonight.
Echenike is really working hard to get the basketball in the paint.
Manigat misses, so does Gibbs. And the rebound to Wilkins, look out. Looked like he tweaked his knee as he fell down on top of number 34, Ethan Rogge. Good to see John Wilkins up and shaking that one off.
Yeah, Wilkins is one of those guys that's critical to this basketball team. He's got size, he's got length, he can defend McDermott in the paint. And he's come up with some big offensive numbers since going into the starting lineup for Illinois State.
Had 18 points in that 17-point comeback win against Drake earlier this week. 1-point Illinois State lead with the ball. Allen, top of the key, yes. And Brian Allen has 5 points.
Over Echenike.
Mark, where does the offense for Creighton come from when Doug McDermott's on the bench?
Well, usually Grant Gibbs is a guy, there he is with the basketball down low. He's got that size mismatch. He's efficient as well.
He had 16 points the last time these two teams played, a 79-72 win for the Blue Jays. Foul on the floor, that's going to go on 0-0 Echenike. That's something we have to keep an eye on.
Wilkins did a very smart thing that time. He recognized that Echenike had matched up with him, and he drove it right at the big guy and drew contact. Smart basketball by Wilkins.
Number 15, Nick Zeisloft has checked in for Dan Muller's club. And here's number 5, Anthony Cousin. They're playing without their backup point guard, Keza Keene, who's suffering from concussion symptoms. So a little short-handed are the Redbirds tonight in the backcourt. Off-balance shot by number 24, Nevin Johnson. He gets the bump and the bucket.
Up and down. Nevin Johnson contributes off the bench for number 16, Creighton.
Welcome back to Missouri Conference basketball, where Illinois State and Creighton are locked at 14 with 11:46 to go. You're looking at the Bob Carey Pedestrian Bridge at 3,000 feet. It's the longest pedestrian bridge to link two states in the country. And we're inside the CenturyLink Center alongside Mark Adams. I'm Rich Hollenberg. You talk about two stars. Jackie Carmichael and Doug McDermott fill those roles, and so far they are providing star-like power that we've seen.
Well, the number 1 and 2 scorers in the Missouri Valley, and that's why these two teams can get up and down and go, because, yeah, they're big guys, but they love pace up and down the floor. I love the way these guys play.
And when you see the two stars on the floor, it's hard to ignore them, and that's why they're your key in the one-on-one.
One-on-one tonight, two big guys that really run the floor well, and they are productive. Jackie Carmichael, 11 double-doubles on the season, 13th in the country, and he represents 25% of the total scoring of this Illinois State team in Missouri Valley play. And Doug McDermott, the number 2 scorer in the country, he can go down on the block and create angles to score, and 51% from behind the arc. He is efficient.
Johnson completes the three-point play, so it's a 1-point Creighton lead. McDermott back in the game after taking a short break. He has 7 points and 5 boards already. There's a three-pointer. Nick Zeisloft gets in the scoring column.
He is the designated three-point bomber for this basketball team, number 9 in the conference, over 42% from long range.
Gibbs curls, fires, misses. Rebound Carmichael.
Gibbs wide open because of Echenike's ability to set on-ball screens. He's just massive.
Here's another three-pointer. In and out for Brown. Gibbs a good rebounding point guard. Chapman. No good. Echenike, the
foul.
rebound and follow. Another offensive board.
He got fouled on that first attempt.
Wilkins. Too strong. Johnson the rebound.
Illinois State has had 3 post touches and scored in all 3 of those touches. Settled for jump shot, jump shot, jump shot, last 3 possessions.
McDermott really working hard to get open. We're halfway through the first half, and there's 6 on the shot clock. Illinois State foul.
Illinois State foul number 1, Tyler Brown. That's his first.
And we'll see Doug McDermott go back to the free throw line so far this evening. He's 3 for 4 from the stripe.
To the free throw line for the Blue
So
Jays,
hard to
shooting
get the
2,
basketball.
number 3, Doug
Against
McDermott.
Indiana State, he was held to 8 points in that game. Part of the reason why Creighton lost by 19 on the road at Terre Haute. He looks like a guy very, very focused to create touches for himself in the paint tonight.
Yeah, we were looking this up before the game. How does Doug respond when he has a sub-Doug McDermott performance? Well, those 8 points against Indiana State, if earlier in the season is any indication, we could see about a 28 to 30-point outburst from Doug McDermott.
That's what he has done historically whenever he's been held under 20 points. In other words, I don't think you want to get Doug McDermott's attention.
He already has 9 to go along with those 5 boards.
Jackie Carmichael has to get a touch on this possession. Something in the paint. Number 32 in red. There he is.
Nice look inside. And Johnny Hill has his 5th point of the night. Illinois State on top, too. Chapman. Balanced scoring in the early going for the Creighton Blue Jays. Allen, high off the window, no good. Will Artino, who's checked in for the Blue Jays, got pushed out of bounds, and it's going to stay Illinois State basketball, much to the chagrin of the blue and white faithful here at CenturyLink.
And there's a lot of them. And it's late at night in Omaha, Nebraska. Read between the lines.
Chapman short. Gets a fresh 35. McDermott. Manigat from the corner. Yes! That's good news for Greg McDermott when Jahen's Manigat gets involved offensively.
That quick transition offense. Creighton caught with the foul right there, right in front of Greg McDermott in the Creighton bench.
Grant Gibbs, number 10 in white, is going to check back in place of Nevin Johnson.
Number 24, Nevin Johnson.
You know, Rich, there just aren't many teams anymore that really push pace on every possession. These are 2 teams, they look to score. Out of the make, miss, doesn't matter. They just attack.
Hill feeling it and drains another bucket. That's 9 first-half points for Johnny Hill. He averages just over 7 a game.
He's one of those leaders of this basketball team.
We've got a whistle foul on the floor.
Illinois State foul on number 22, John Ike.
It's going to be on number 22, John Ike, his 2nd, and that's the team's 6th. 1 foul away from being in the bonus position with 8:22 to go in the first half.
In for the Blue Jays, number 2, Taylor Stormberg for Austin Chapman.
Dan Muller making the transition from assistant coach to head coach, and sometimes it takes a little while to get the attention and get the team to buy in. He said that had something to do with that and their defensive intensity getting ratcheted up. Has been a real positive attribute this last month.
They're a much better defensive team. McDermott again working the low block. He is wearing out Illinois State in the paint.
A great look from 31 Will Artino to find it. Artino with the rebound.
Look at McDermott. He was open again.
Here he is. Goes underneath. Got blocked by the rim, but there's an Illinois State foul. .748 to go, and Doug McDermott showing you the full repertoire of what an All-American looks like.
Sometimes it's just a want-to thing, and Doug McDermott wants it bad.
Florida at 7, Michigan State at 9, Tuesday on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. We watched that Michigan-Wisconsin game going to overtime. That was an exciting one. That Big Ten is solid top to bottom.
No question. And there was an absolute barn burner at Wisconsin today. A technical foul on Dan Muller. You know, Creighton has come into this game wanting to pound the ball in the post, specifically to Doug McDermott. And McDermott has a way of frustrating defenders, and Dan Muller feels like that Doug McDermott's getting a lot of calls down the paint. 11 touches in the paint have now yielded 16 points for Creighton here in the first 12 minutes of this basketball game.
And Mark, to reinforce that point, right now Creighton's out-rebounding Illinois State offensively 9-2, and that's resulted in 10 second chance points for the Jays. And McDermott is making a living at the free throw line in the first half. He is 9 for 10 from the charity stripe.
I smell 30, maybe 40.
There's Carmichael. Faces up and knocks it down.
I love that move for Jackie Carmichael. A little inside pivot, create space, measure the defenders.
Jackie Carmichael passed, guess who? Dan Muller for 10th on the all-time scoring list for Illinois State. McDermott to miss from distance. It's out of bounds. Illinois State says it's our ball, but it stays with the Blue Jays. Carmichael came into tonight with 1,440 career points. Muller, his head coach, had 1,445.
I'd bench him. Wouldn't let him pass me.
He talked about doing that in his press conference after their last game.
And who held Michael Jordan under 20 every night?
Dean Smith.
The legendary Dean Smith.
That's right.
Well, if you want to see how to move without the ball, just watch number 3 in white every possession.
Chapman had to change the arc on his shot. Short on the deep three from Manigat. And Wilkins clears for the Redbirds.
Well, the rebounding disparity right now for Illinois State is troublesome over the course of the game. That's the one stat area they've got to get better moving forward.
There's Wilkins. There's a turnover. The steal by Manigat. Takes it himself and one.
Johns Manigat, watch, help right there as he gets his paw right in the dribble space and then takes it right to the basket. Hard. Well, you love an active off-ball defender with wingspan and anticipation, and that's what Manigat brings to the table for Creighton.
John Eakey and Tyler Brown checking in for the Redbirds.
Johans Manigat, just 7 for 14 from the free throw line this season. Make it 8 for 15. He completes the three-point play, and it's the largest lead of the game for the Jays, 31-25.
When Manigat plays well, Echenike gets into a groove, number 34, Raggi gets it going from 3. This is a Final Four Elite 8 type of basketball team.
Brown, the bump and the bucket. They didn't call anything, but Tyler Brown has his first 2 of the game.
He hasn't gotten going yet, but he can explode offensively.
He's 4th in the conference in scoring, 16 tonight.
Echenique's got him pinned.
10 on the shot clock. Manigat, aggressive, but the turnover. Here comes Illinois State. Hill probing, too strong. Rebound Wilkins. Surrounded by white jerseys and somehow gets it to go. John Wilkins has really provided a spark in the last 6 games that he started for Dan Muller. Muller pushing all the right buttons by inserting him in the starting lineup.
There's a reason why Illinois State, as we see the delay of game warning here, there's a reason why Illinois State is 5-1 over the last 6 games and the hottest team in the Missouri Valley, because Dan Muller changed his starting lineup, inserted John Wilkins, who was struggling before that, but he has gained confidence from his coach.
Under 5 to go in the first half. 2-point Creighton lead with the ball. Johnson rises, misses the 3. And there's a foul to boot.
Creighton foul, number 10, Grant Gibbs, his first. Blue Jays' 5th team foul.
Look at the stats. They've held their opponents to under 62 points per game. They've held their opponents under 40% shooting. This team has recommitted on the defensive end. What a turnaround by a first-year coach with a team that was absolutely struggling just 1 month ago.
Iki off the curl, no good. Raggi the rebound. So far Creighton with the lead, but they've struggled in an area that they lead the nation in 3-point percentage. They're only shooting 20% so far tonight. A miss by McDermott, a rebound by Carmichael. Chance to tie or take the lead for the Redbirds.
Illinois State, they've settled for jump shot, jump shot, jump shot. Every time it goes to the paint's good things. 6 post touches, 12 points out of those 6 post touches here in the first half.
Carmichael mid-post. He works on that every day in practice.
Make that 7 and 14 points.
That's double digits for Jackie Carmichael. He averages 18 a game. Raggi, alone, no good. It's been an up and down season from beyond the arc for one of the best 3-point shooters in the nation, Ethan Raggi.
And he does go up and down. In November, shot the ball very well. December, crashed and burned. January, lit it up again. It's like a roller coaster ride, but he's good. He's really good for about a month.
So far in February, it's followed that trend. He's been struggling. There's a great foul on the floor.
His first, the team's 6th. The Illinois State.
We're knotted at 31. A crucial game in the Valley with 3:25 to go. Alongside longtime coach and commentator Mark Adams, I'm Rich Hollenberg. The CenturyLink Center packs in over 17,000, and that's not counting the thousands extra that pack in the concourse to take in the atmosphere here inside a sea of blue and another sellout crowd in Omaha. But it's been one young man in red who has helped his team keep this game knotted.
And why? Because of his motor. After the loose balls in the offensive glass. Look at him gain position and then nice bounce shot. Watch this possession. Watch Jackie Carmichael on the right-hand block. He senses the angle. He catches. Watch what he does. Measures the defender with the inside pivot and then lets it go. He's developed that mid-range game much like Doug McDermott has during the offseason. Very effective. Look at the leadership right there. That's the difference that Jackie Carmichael has brought to this program. He's not a screamer. He's not a yeller. But he's a guy that's willing to teach and lead.
Tyler Brown, wild shot, short. Goes out of bounds. It's going to be, it'll stay Illinois State ball. Greg McDermott has something to say about it. Doug could have grabbed the ball, but let it go out of bounds. And it is a reverse call. You might be able to disagree with one McDermott. You can't disagree with 2.
I know the one McDermott that makes the decisions, though, and that's Teresa.
And speaking of Doug, he had 15 and 9 in 35 minutes in the first meeting between these two. He has 15 and 6 already tonight. Looking for more, and he's got it.
That's the mid-range game. That's what he picked up at the LeBron James Skill Academy this summer. He learned how to put the ball on the floor and make the mid-range play.
Despite shooting 18% so far from three, the best shooting team from distance in the country find themselves up 2 on Illinois State.
Watch Doug McDermott read the defender. Inside pivot, feels he can beat him off the dribble, takes the bump, and then he's balanced. I love the way he gets his feet underneath him. He draws contact. So one of the two things is going to happen. He's going to make the shot or get fouled and go to the free throw line.
He's done a little bit of both of those so far this night. Johnny Hill off the mark. Currently at 75% free throw shooting.
He's in for Austin Chapman.
Austin Chapman takes a seat, and Evan Johnson, number 24 in white, takes his place in the rotation. Hill scored 18 against Indiana State recently.
And Johnny Hill, one of those guys that can really defend. This matchup with Grant Gibbs, a key matchup in this basketball game.
McDermott. Nice look, Echenike.
And why is he open? Because all defenders have to know and recognize where Doug McDermott is.
There's Maniga on the loose ball, all alone. Jahens Maniga has 8 points, and it's back up to a 5-point Blue Jay lead. 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Jackie Carmichael out of the game. A lot of red jerseys standing. Not a lot of ball movement, not a lot of player movement.
Long three, Allen. Rebound, McDermott. Johnson, long on the three from the corner. Big rebound, Echenike. And they're going to call an offensive foul on Gregory Echenike. NBA Sunday on ABC rolls on with a doubleheader this Sunday. At 1, Blake Griffin and the Red Hot Clippers head to the Big Apple to take on Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks. Then at 3:30, Kobe Bryant and the Lakers take on LeBron James and the Heat. The NBA Sunday Showcase coverage tips off with Kia NBA Countdown at 12:30. Then it's Clippers Knicks at 1, Lakers Heat 3:30 Sunday on ABC.
LeBron James, a huge college basketball fan, was at the Miami Hurricanes dismantling of the North Carolina Tar Heels this afternoon in Miami.
Nice take. Carmichael has 12.
Timeout. Illinois State.
Illinois State gets a quick timeout. We'll take a quick timeout ourselves. 1:11 to go. We got a good one from the Valley. 37-34. Creighton up by 3. Coming up on the Land Rover halftime report at the end of this half, we got an overtime thriller in Madison earlier today. The Jayhawks woes continue, and Hurricanes in uncharted waters. These stories and more coming up on the Land Rover halftime report. 3 losses in a row for Bill Self.
That won't help your BPI, your basketball power index. I feel like talking about that a little bit tonight.
And we will. Under a minute to go, first half. Creighton with the ball and a 3-point lead. Gibbs, the lob. Artino will go to the line and shoot 2. And Will Artino, a young man who's really come on strong in the last month for Greg McDermott, earning minutes on the floor. Mark, over the last 10 games, he is 16 for 17 from the field.
Only had 13 games in the loss at Indiana State. What a luxury to have a big guy like that likes to go to the offensive glass. You can rest Gregory Echenike if he gets in foul trouble. Now you got a go-to guy in the lefty, Will Artino. The other thing that Artino will learn to do through his career is to become more of a shot blocker defensively. I love rangy left-handed guys. Why? Because right-handers shoot right into that left paw. Think David Robinson. Think Keith Kloss. 2 of the great shot blockers in NCAA history.
And Coach Kloss at Central Connecticut.
Played for the Clippers for 4 seasons.
right in front of the Creighton bench. They get a foul on the Blue Jays. That's their 9th team foul. So one more in Illinois State will be in the double bonus. Greg McDermott back in with 43 seconds left in the first half. Tyler Brown's going to be at the line, shooting two, a 6'4" senior from Owensboro, Kentucky. He had 25 points and 9 assists against Drake earlier this year.
That's one of the reasons why Illinois State was picked for 2nd place in the preseason poll in the Valley. They got off to a rough start. Of course, Wichita State, Indiana State now tied for the 2nd spot in the Valley.
Wichita State getting off that 3-game slide of their own with a win this afternoon. Indiana State escaped with a 1-point win.
Yeah, not a great week in Kansas.
Two for
the Jayhawks have lost 3 consecutive games now. Wichita State had lost 3 before they won this evening.
I don't know if anybody would have guessed that Wichita State would get to 20 wins before the Jayhawks would. 8-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
Illinois State goes 2-3 zone.
Ten to shoot. Gibbs took it himself. Artino couldn't tip it in. Johnson tried, no good. 5 seconds left. Hill himself off the window, no good. Gibbs, good if it goes. And about 12 inches to the left for Grant Gibbs. It's been a back and forth contest. Creighton on top by 3, 39, 36, and 17 from the All-American McDermott. After this break, we'll head to the studio for the Land Rover Halftime Report.
ESPN's exclusive presentation.
Welcome back to the Land Rover Halftime Report. Just a handful of Mark Adams' closest friends hanging out in the concourse as the Creighton Blue Jays are up 39-36 against the Illinois State Redbirds. Welcome back courtside inside the CenturyLink Center. Alongside Mark Adams, I'm Rich Hollenberg, and both of these teams are involved in the Bracket Busters coming up next weekend, the Ramada Worldwide Bracket Busters. Let's take a look at some of the games that you're going to have in store for you on ESPN networks. First of all, you talk about games that these teams are involved in, and you talk about some other games that are going to capture your attention. What jumps out at you?
Well, for all those mid-majorologists out there, which I know you are one of, it's about these matchups. And how about Akron, the hottest team in the country right now, 15 consecutive wins. And Indiana State, a team right now that if the NCAA tournament were held today, they would get an at-large bid. This is a huge game against a very good Iona basketball team. A huge game for Indiana State.
That's at 11 a.m. on ESPNU. Now we look at the rest of the games that are the primetime games on Saturday. Detroit, Wichita State. Creighton has to travel to St. Mary's, something Greg McDermott wasn't too thrilled about.
Matthew Dellavedova is a true head coach on the floor for Randy Bennett and St. Mary's, but Creighton will travel to the West Coast, and the West Coast fans will get a great idea of what Doug McDermott is all about. Let's take a look right now at the rankings and the records. 20-4 for both. The BPI, the Basketball Power Index, 14 for Creighton, number 40 for St. Mary's, and against the top 50, Creighton at 2-1. It's an excellent matchup for two very good basketball teams.
Now, when you talk about BPI, that's something we're starting to hear a lot more of. What exactly makes that so important?
You know, it goes deeper and it goes wider with the data. I think it's a better predictor of how teams are going to perform in the NCAA tournament. ESPN has done a tremendous job of breaking down all the numbers in a pretty simple and easy to understand way. And bottom line is you got a handsaw or you got a chainsaw. The RPI is more like the handsaw. The BPI is more like a chainsaw. It cuts deep and fast. I love it.
Power tool talk on halftime here in Omaha, Nebraska. When we come back, we'll show you highlights of the first half. 16th ranked Creighton up 3 on the Redbirds. 16th ranked Creighton Blue Jays looking for win number 21 on the year. They lead Illinois State 39-36 at the half. We're just getting set for the second half of basketball. in Omaha, Nebraska, and Doug McDermott has not disappointed, coming off an 8-point effort. He already has 17, Mark.
And why is he the #2 scorer in the country? He manufactures points with his quick jumping ability. The high-low look right there. Never brings the ball down. Presents it to the rim. Measures the defender. Has established a mid-range game during the offseason. He's so dangerous offensively that he draws a lot of attention, and he has such a high basketball IQ. There's Doug McDermott. Watch him accept the pass and watch what he does. He recognizes the avenue is not open. He gives it up, but he doesn't stand and watch. He moves, sets the screen, and watch what happens when he receives it. Total focus on McDermott. It creates space because every defender is watching McDermott. Every defender is extending the three-point line, which gives Echenique all the space he needs to score in the paint. That's how valuable Doug McDermott is to this basketball team.
And if you look at the stats from the first half, rebounds really tell a story. Blue Jays out rebounding the Redbirds 27-14, 13-3 offensive rebounds. And Mark, that's led to a 14-4 second chance advantage for the Blue Jays.
But here's the good news. If Illinois State can simply shore up that one aspect in the second half, they're only down 3. If they get more post touches, it's going to help their offensive rebounding ability.
It's been a close one throughout. 7 ties, 9 times the lead has changed. Illinois State looking to get back to that 500 mark in conference. They're at 5-7 coming in, having won 5 of their last 6. Creighton only 3-3 in their last 6, but they have come out tonight with a renewed focus in front of their home crowd.
For Illinois State, Rich, it's simple. More paint touches for Jackie Carmichael, and make sure that you crash the offensive glass and manufacture some second chance points.
Carmichael backdoor. Brown didn't have the angle. Carmichael wants it mid-post. Backs down Echenique, fades away and hits. Great way to start for Jackie Carmichael, his 14th point of the night.
Illinois State foul number 2, Brian Allen. That's his first.
Foul's going to be on Brian Allen, number 2, his first foul. So Grant Gibbs, number 10 in white, will inbounds on the side for the Blue Jays.
Echenique did not score effectively in the first half. Double 0 in white.
Manigault, and 1.
Count the basket.
Jahens Manigault has been nearly invisible in conference play, but tonight he's explosive.
In 4 of the last 6 games, he scored a total of 3 points. Tonight, Jahens Manigault is in much more attack mode. He's making things happen offensively.
Wilkins will go to the bench. And Manigault, who came in averaging 5.7 a game, now has 11 tonight. Blue Jays always looking for that complimentary score to Doug McDermott. Tonight, it's number 12 in white.
Well, when you get him going, and Rogge scoring, and Echenique scoring, they are tough to beat. They would be a tough out in the NCAA tournament.
Brian Allen, nice one-on-one move. He has 7. The lead back down to 2 for Creighton.
The other guy that's played very, very well is Grant Gibbs.
McDermott, quick turn and fire. 19 points for Doug McDermott.
He came off shoulder to hip off that screen and just curled to the basketball with his hands showing. You can't run that curl better than that.
Here's Brown, splits the defense, and the finger roll from Tyler Brown. He has 6. Illinois State not going away.
Tyler Brown, number 1 in red. He can explode offensively. Another one of those Redbirds who went for 30 in a game this season.
Dermott off the mark. He's more comfortable in the catch and shoot scenario for that shot. Foul on the floor. It'll go on number 1, Chat.
Breaking foul number 1, Austin Chapman. That's his third personal. Blue Jays first.
Watch Doug
team foul,
McDermott use the screen. Sets the on ball, curls to the basket. Watch right there. Shoulder to hip, hands showing, quick release. That's why he's the number 2 scorer in the country.
Number 24, Nevin Johnson for Austin
I love it when a guy
Chapman.
comes off a screen and shows his hand for the target. Shows exactly where he wants the basketball.
Loose ball. Redbirds come away with it. Allen, deep three.
Bad shot.
Iki saved it. And Hill wrestled it away from Echenike.
Breaking foul number 10, Brent Gibbs, his second. The team's second.
Well, you get the feeling like Dan Muller was talking to his club at halftime about crashing the boards a little more. They did there.
Well, I just love Johnny Hill, number 44 in red. I mean, last year did not sniff the floor. Basically, Dan Muller said, forget about last year. Here's your opportunity. And Johnny Hill is taking full advantage now, a starter for Illinois State.
Brown rattles home a three. He has 5 points this half, 9 on the game, and Illinois State back up by 1.
Tyler Brown is a game changer offensively.
There's the lob. We saw that in the first half. Echenike tried to follow his own shot, went down hard. Iki was underneath his legs. Gregory Echenike is lucky he didn't get injured on that.
That's his third personal foul, the team's third.
Well, you've got to love the effort of Gregory Echenike. While he's not finishing, he certainly is staying with it. He had his best 2 practices over the last 2 days in a long, long time. He's recommitted. It's amazing how those seniors kind of start smelling the barn like a big old racehorse when they make that last turn. They know there's a treat when they get to the barn. And right now, Gregory Echenike, he's playing awfully hard.
Gibbs tried to find Echenike inside. Here's a turnover. Allen pulls up. Blue Jays a chance to go back on top. Get the ball in that young man's hands. Good decision.
If everybody clears out.
And they call Doug McDermott for the travel.
Good defense by John Iki.
There aren't many things that are out of Doug McDermott's comfort zone. That move there might have been one of them.
This feels like the Valley Championship game last season in St. Louis, which went to overtime. Illinois State just hung around, and that guy got hot in St. Louis 11 months ago, and he's hot tonight in Omaha. Tyler Brown.
Back-to-back three-pointers for Brown, and it's a 4-point Redbirds lead. Coming up on 16 minutes to go in the game. Nevin Johnson, spark off the bench. Nevin Johnson, the 6'5" redshirt freshman, has 5.
I think he's the best athlete on this Creighton basketball team.
Brown feeling it, not that time. Chance to take the lead with a 3 for the Blue Jays. Johnson curls, touches the rim and the window and through the twine. We've got a tie ball game in Omaha. Carmichael lost control. 2-on-1. Johnson up and under. Six straight points for Nevin Johnson puts the Creighton Blue Jays back on top by 2 with 15-12 to go.
Doug McDermott leads the break. The second leading scorer gives it up to his freshman hot hand, Nevin Johnson.
Also, of course, home to the College World Series. And by the way, it is a mere 126 days till the 2013 Round 1 game on Saturday, June 15th. And You talk about a multi-sport complex at the Ameritrade Park going on right now, Mark Adams. Where's your hockey stick and goalie mask? They're playing outdoor hockey at TD Ameritrade Park as we speak. This is the mecca of college sports right now.
It really is, and for the College World Series, it is a religious pilgrimage to the mecca of college baseball right here in Omaha, Nebraska. What a great city, a tremendous fan base here, and I think the entire state of North Dakota is in Omaha right now, with North Dakota taking on Nebraska-Omaha tonight in hockey. So we've got 17,000 at this arena, tens of thousands of hockey fans over at Ameritrade Park. It's a great sports town, Omaha, Nebraska.
Brown, the jumper. He's on fire in the second half. He has 14, and we're tied at 50.
It's amazing how much this feels like the championship game last season.
We've got a whistle from Scott Thornley. It's an offensive foul going the other way. In front of 18,494, the second largest crowd in school history, Creighton and Illinois State tied at 50. College basketball from Omaha, Nebraska. It's the best of the Valley on hand. 14:48 to go. Number 16, Creighton, knotted at 50 with Illinois State. And Mark Adams, this arena is one of, if not the finest college basketball facilities you're going to find. And we were talking to some of the staff today. They said it's the house that Dana Altman built it, yet Dana Altman, the former Creighton coach, didn't have a chance to coach here.
Well, of course, Dana Altman now at Oregon, and there's the BPI, number 14 for Creighton, number 32 for Oregon. And as we continue to talk about the Basketball Power Index, it's evaluated on scoring margin, adjusted by pace. So if you run a faster pace, scoring margin is going to be wider. It also goes wider and deeper into the strength of schedule. It's a great tool to follow on ESPN.com.
Great follow by Johnny Hill. He has 11, and it's a 2-point Redbird lead.
Illinois State really picking up the pace in their half-court defense.
Johnson off the mark. There's going to be an Illinois State foul. ESPN's Journey to the Tourney is a season-long spotlight on games that will impact the tournament. On Monday, the Sunflower Showdown as Rodney Magruder leads the Wildcats into Allen Fieldhouse, where they'll square off against freshman Ben McLemore and the Jayhawks. Kansas State, Kansas, Monday at 9 on ESPN, and also live on Watch ESPN. And man, Bill Self and the Jayhawks, losers of 3 straight, now have to go up against K-State.
That's going to be interesting. Something's going to give. I'm not sure what exactly, but something's going to give.
Number 22, John Eakey, checks back in for Dan Muller. John Wilkins goes to the bench. Martino missed the first free throw. Will try to knock down the second. He does just that. Down to a 1-point lead. Illinois State 52, Creighton 51. Redbirds with the ball.
I think Illinois State was only down 3 at the half. The main reason why this game has gotten tighter and tighter, Tyler Brown has been able to get his game rolling. Number 1 in red, has been very effective offensively, and defensively, Dan Muller has come up with a game plan to take McDermott away from their offense. McDermott had 17 first half points. He's got 2 in the second half.
Spin, miss, follow, and the foul. And Tyler Brown is seemingly everywhere on the floor for the Redbirds.
Gives his 3rd personal foul, the Blue Jays' 4th team foul.
That's the 4th Blue Jay foul of this half.
Tyler Brown to the free throw line for Illinois State.
Tyler Brown, who scored in double figures in 10 of 12 of their non-conference games. Had some attitude issues, and Dan Muller addressed it. And he said he, the team, and Brown are all better for it.
In the profession, we call it brain surgery. And that's suspending a player, sitting down the bench, and those pine teams go through their back end and eventually into their brain. And they start thinking more like their head coach. That's exactly what Tyler Brown's doing now. He's competing, and he's bought into Dan Muller's style of play and way of doing things.
Brown quiet in the first half, only 1 for 5 from the field, but he has been on fire in the second half. 11 points, 4 for 7 from the field, and we've only played 6 minutes and 14 seconds.
He's averaged 18 points over the last 6 games. In Illinois State, 5-1, the hottest team in the Valley because of that production.
Brown has 16, Illinois State up 3. Illinois State's last win on the road against a ranked team, 1985. Here's the reserves ice loft.
Boy, Menegaw all over Tyler Brown. There they are.
Here's Carmichael checking the shot clock.
Total clear out.
He held his pivot foot but missed the bunny. McDermott the rebound.
Here's where Creighton struggles sometimes because they don't have a blow-by guy, a guy that can get by a defender.
Here's McDermott with Iki on it. Up and under, blocked out of bounds, good D by Iki.
Creighton substitutions, number 34, Ethan Rogge.
Ethan Rogge, number 34, and Gregory Echenike, double-0, check in for Greg McDermott.
The key to defending Doug McDermott around the basket, you got to keep your feet. If you go for all the head fakes and the jukes, he's going to get you on the line.
And now McDermott on the bench. We'll see where the offense comes from for the Jays. Menegaw had a good first half offensively. Nothing yet in the second half. It's out of bounds. It'll stay Creighton basketball.
Bounds last check by Illinois State. It's Blue Jay basketball. Johnny Hill returning for the Redbirds.
Johnny Hill checking back in. Tyler Brown, number 1, will take a quick breather on the sidelines. I'm sure not for long. And how about the one-on-one update? Both of these superstars playing like that.
The number 1 and 2 scorers in the Missouri Valley Conference. McDermott with 19, Jackie Carmichael with 14. Carmichael's been so efficient in the paint.
Johnson.
He is wide open. There he is.
Around and out. But Echenike picks up the trash. 4 points for the big man. There's a foul before the block. And it's going to go on number 1, Austin Chapman, and that's Chapman's 4th. We'll see if Greg McDermott decides to keep one of his starters on the floor with 4 fouls.
But when you're coaching and you sit your best player down to give him a rest right now, the best thing that can happen to you if you're Illinois State and Tyler Brown sitting on the bench is a foul. Gives him a couple more minutes to recover. Doug McDermott in that same boat, sitting for Greg McDermott right now for the Creighton Blue Jays.
Johnny Hill misses the first free throw.
Number 10, Grant Gibbs.
Grant Gibbs checks back in. He's the stat sheet stuffer on this Blue Jays roster. Hill 0 for 2 from the line. Rogge the rebound. 12 minutes to go in the game. Creighton a chance to take the lead with a bucket. Menegaw, clear path, but had to alter his shot with Carmichael guarding the hoop.
The top shot blocker in Illinois State history, Jackie Carmichael.
Iki, deep 3. Off the mark. Ill-advised for the Redbirds. Menegaw.
Bad shot.
Way off.
Terrible shot.
Carmichael gets a touch. Into the lane. Too strong. And it goes off Grant Gibbs' shoe. It'll be Illinois State basketball with 11:17 to go. They have the ball and the lead on the road against the Blue Jays. Illinois State, 54-53 lead over 16th ranked Creighton in Missouri Valley basketball, 11-17 to go. One of the reasons Creighton's down, Mark Adams, only 2 for 16 from three. Why is that?
Credit the Illinois State defense. They've really extended, they've pressured hard, and they've challenged every shot. And on the offensive end, it's been Tyler Brown. In a word, explosive. He can go by you, and go to the rack. He can rise up, knock down the three ball. Tyler Brown is a guy that when he gets it going, it's pro-like.
Tyler Brown, who came into this half with just 4 points, has been dominant in the second half. And that's the main reason why the Redbirds hold a 1-point lead with 11-17 to go. Looking to win their 6th conference game in the last 7, and Brown again off the inbounds.
Defender lost vision, lost track, and Tyler Brown scores. Well-designed out-of-bounds play by Dan Muller.
He had 15 points the last time these two met. He has 18 tonight.
This was a team that was dead and buried 1 month ago. Not anymore. Illinois State is back.
Five to shoot. Gibbs in the lane, yes. Grant Gibbs, who's been quiet most of this evening, has his 4th point. And it's a 1-point game again.
Well, the entire defensive focus for Creighton all over Tyler Brown. Menegal matched up with him.
Allen almost lost it. Gets it to Carmichael with 15 on the shot clock. Hill probing, firing, off the mark. Dingman rebounds for Creighton.
Hill had Tyler Brown on a handle. He would have been wide open on that play.
Still no Doug McDermott on the floor for the Jays.
Now, this is where Grant Gibbs oftentimes can flourish. He reads defenders well.
And there's a foul on the floor. And now McDermott will be checking back in. Ostensibly for the rest of this game, you would have to assume.
I would sure think so. And I like the fact that Grant Gibbs is starting to exert his will offensively for Creighton. Oftentimes defenders become so focused on McDermott, Gibbs gets opportunities to get into gaps and make plays.
McDermott
back in the rotation. He has 19 points and he's 1 rebound away from a double-double.
2-3 zone for Illinois State. Out of the baseline, out of bounds.
Inside.
Watch Grant Gibbs probe the middle of that zone. There he is.
Good ball movement by the Jays, but an errant pass by Manigault and a Creighton turnover.
They really want Carmichael inside.
Brown. That's going to be goaltending. And give Tyler Brown a game-high 20 points now.
Watch how low Tyler Brown gets. Look at him drop his shoulder right there. Whenever you see the offensive player lower than the defensive player, advantage offense. Illinois State going to roll the dice out of the 2-3 zone again. McDermott comes to the perimeter.
Under 9 to go.
And that's a good read by Tyler Brown, taking McDermott out of that play on the perimeter.
5 to shoot. Gibbs. Picked off by Iki. Michael, right hand. Pretty move, came up empty. And there's McDermott with his 21st points. That's his 18th 20-point effort this season. Tyler Brown is a man amongst men in the second half.
There's nobody that can defend him. Interesting how this 2-3 zone has really befuddled this offensive flow for Creighton. Look, everybody's standing around on the outside. Nobody's moving, cutting aggressively.
McDermott on Carmichael. And they'll get the foul on number 32 in red. Well, what's at stake, Mark? A loss here for Creighton, and the Blue Jays will now be tied for the Missouri Valley lead. Not if Doug McDermott has anything to say about it.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's. Now that's better.
Well, Creighton in jeopardy of relinquishing the lead in the Missouri Valley Conference with Wichita State's win earlier today. They are now 9-4. Creighton would drop to 9-4, but Wichita State defeated Creighton earlier in the season, which would give them first place.
Well, and Indiana State also went to Wichita and won. Came home this week and knocked off Creighton in Terre Haute. Greg Lansing has the sick boys playing at a high level. Why? Because Jake Odom is as good a guard as you're going to see in the country of managing his team in every situation.
7:32 to go, and it's been the Tyler Brown show in the second half. He has 22 in the game, 18 in the second.
Ethan Rocky and Nevin Johnson return to the Blue Jay lineup.
Rocky and Johnson back in for Greg McDermott's club. His son Doug at the line, shooting 2. He's 9 for 10 from the free throw line tonight. And badly misses that first one. It's almost as rare as seeing Haley's Comet.
You never see a release like that from him.
We've got a 2-point ball game. Illinois State up a deuce with the ball.
There's the guy you want to watch, number 1 in red.
Manigat, great hands-on defense. It goes out of bounds. It'll stay Illinois State ball.
Well, Tyler Brown has come up big in big games. He had 25 points in the 3-point loss at Louisville earlier this season. He dropped 36 against Northwestern. He likes the big stage, and this is a big stage in Omaha.
Over 18,000 fans in attendance tonight, the second largest crowd in Creighton school history in this building. Unstoppable. 24 points for Tyler Brown, and it's back up to a 4-point lead for the Illinois State Redbirds.
So that hesitation dribble was just explosive for Tyler Brown.
Gibbs, high post. Nice touch by Grant Gibbs, who has 6.
He's so good in the middle of that zone. With or without the ball, he probes defenses, finds open gaps.
Brown, unconscious.
3-point basket, Tyler Brown.
27 for Tyler Brown. And it's Illinois State's largest lead, 5, with 6.5 to go.
Watch Gibbs in the middle, number 10. Watch him look for open spaces in the zone. There he is, his open short corner.
10 on the shot clock. McDermott bodies up in the lane and gets it to go.
And why was that successful? Because Gibbs read the double team. He drugged 2 defenders to the corner, which gave space for McDermott.
Brown missed that time. McDermott's got a double-double. Creighton could tie with a 3.
Gibbs is the trigger guy. Number 10 in white. There he is.
Tries to take Wilkins off the bounce, and he does.
Grant Gibbs is dominating this zone right now. Look for Illinois State to go back to man-to-man.
Johnny Hill chips in with a three of his own.
Gutty.
Hill with 15. Redbirds up 4. Under 5 to go.
Illinois State going to stay in the zone.
Seven to shoot. Here's Gibbs again. Left hand this time, no good. Rogge keeps it alive for Creighton.
The ball stalls a lot against this zone. Gibbs is the guy that keeps the ball moving.
McDermott, short on the three.
Funny free throw release, short on the three. That's not typical.
Brian Allen, too strong on his 3 attempts. Zeislov gathers, fires, misses, but another offensive rebound for the Redbirds. And Dan Muller wants to talk it over. Well, we came into tonight saying Jackie Carmichael was the second best player in the Missouri Valley Conference. Tonight, the best player on the floor has been number 1 in red.
Oh, Tyler Brown, watch his explosiveness, watch his stop and go. Hesitation right there. And then he explodes. Man, I love that hesitation move. How many guys can stop and then explode that quickly? I know one of them, Tyler Brown. He's in Omaha tonight.
6'4" senior from out of Owensboro, Kentucky, has taken this Redbirds team on his shoulders. They lead it by 4. Rivalry week continues with Super Tuesday doubleheader on ESPN at 7. The freshman Nerlens Noel and the Wildcats take on senior Kenny Boynton and the Gators. Then at 9, Trey Burke and the Wolverines square off against their rivals, the Spartans, led by Keith Apley. Super Tuesday is part of Rivalry Week presented by Wendy's. Kentucky, Florida at 7. Michigan State at 9 Tuesday on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. And those Wolverines, they were the number 1 team in the nation for a while. They played Indiana, then Ohio State, then Wisconsin, and now Michigan State. The gauntlet in the Big Ten.
One of the most entertaining games of mistakes I've ever watched today. Michigan and Wisconsin. And Wisconsin somehow found a way to win.
We asked the same question about the Blue Jays. Loose ball. Manigault grabbed it and called timeout. Heads up play from number 12.
Watch Tyler Brown. As the ball's tipped away, Brown doesn't want to touch it. Why? Because it'd be an automatic turnover in the over and back.
Jahens Manigault has been a great secondary scorer in this game. He has 11 points. Some hustle plays from him as well have really helped keep the Creighton Blue Jays in this game because Illinois State has been unconscious from the field in the second half.
But the key is for Manigault to figure out a way to stop Tyler Brown. If Creighton can't figure out a way to stop number 1 in red, then Illinois State is going to win 6 out of their last 7 games. This team is hot right now.
And we talked to Dan Muller before the game. We said, what's the key for your team to win? He said, we have to limit the threes. We know they're going to take threes. We have to limit the Blue Jays' makes. They've done that tonight so far.
Illinois State staying in that 2-3 zone. They're committed to that zone. Nobody's getting into gaps off the dribble. The ball stalls. When the ball stalls, you can't get into gaps.
10 to shoot. Manigault, deep 3. Not the shot they wanted. It's out of bounds and it'll stay in basketball. Well, the Blue Jays are very un-Blue Jay-like. 2 for 18 from distance, yet they just trail it by 4.
Drop everything you have and get you down, 'cause we're going out.
with 3:09 to go. Creighton in danger on their own home floor. They're trailing Illinois State 68-64. Let's take a look at tonight's Wendy's Wooden Watch, and if they're going to win, they're going to have to do it with their All-American Doug McDermott.
You got to ride your best racehorse in the biggest race. And right now, with 3:09 to go, and the number 16 team in the country down at home by 4 to Illinois State, he's got to come up big.
Mark, this zone has kind of befuddled the offense of the Jays. How do they penetrate?
You need a guard that can get into gaps and make a play. A guy like Austin Chapman has to be aggressive, especially off the reversal pass. There he is. It's all stalls.
3 minutes to go.
You got to take that gap. You got to step in and draw another defender. Too easy to guard.
Tried to get it to McDermott on the baseline and went out of bounds. Stays Creighton basketball.
Notice how the only penetration against that zone is by the pass. It has to come sometimes off the dribble.
Rogge's in. He fires away. It's going to be short. Gibbs couldn't follow. Carmichael rebounds.
I sense panic.
2.5 to go. Carmichael. Bodies up. Rogge gets it to go and one. 16 points for Jackie Carmichael.
Blue Jay fellow number 10, Brandon Gibbs.
And with 2:20 left, Mark Adams, this is Illinois State's largest lead of the game.
Look at all the defenders and look at the leader, Jackie Carmichael, power through. He is surrounded, but has balance and strength.
Can't complete the three-point play. McDermott rebounds.
Push it before the zone gets set. Too late.
This is the #1 three-point shooting team in the nation, so it is a two-possession ball game. Coming up on 2 minutes to go.
That's a walk. Got away with it.
High post Gibbs. Nice lead for Rogge, who lost control of it.
Out of bounds to the Redbirds.
It's going to be Illinois State basketball, a very costly turnover for Creighton.
Echinike now comes in for defensive purposes against Jackie Carmichael. Creighton will go full court pressure here.
Hill double teamed and calls a timeout.
Illinois State.
ESPN college basketball available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app. This game's been a good enough one that you might want to rewatch it on your smartphone once it's over.
I got a feeling in Wichita and in Terre Haute in particular, there might be a couple coaches who'll be rewatching this over and over again. Greg Marshall, Wichita State, Greg Lansing and Indiana State. With a loss tonight, if this score holds, it's a three-way tie atop the Missouri Valley. Wichita State, Indiana State, and Creighton.
Creighton has to go on the road their next two games. They're at Drake, at Southern Illinois. For Illinois State, they're next up hosting Bradley, and then they get the Shockers on the 17th. Looking to make it 6 of their last 7, and looking for their first true road win against a ranked team since 1985. Here's Carmichael. And now they'll play keep away.
Well, here's where you have to make a defensive stand. Latent shot clock, Tyler Brown, #1. Jackie Carmichael, number 32. There they both are.
Brown off his feet. Hill got it up and rolls it in. Wow. Johnny Hill has 17. Gibbs knocks down the three to keep the Jays in it.
30-second timeout for Creighton.
And Greg McDermott calls a 30-second timeout. They have 2 timeouts left.
Illinois State has shown road toughness. Tyler Brown denied. Johnny Hill off balance.
The last Blue Jays loss in this building came on November 28th when they lost 83-70 to the hands of the Boise State Broncos.
This is an Illinois State team. There you see their most recent numbers. Let me tell you about their past numbers. 0-6 in the Valley. Dead and buried. Internal strife. Suspension of Tyler Brown. This team has resurrected their season under their first-year coach, Dan Muller. They are 65 seconds away from resurrecting completely an 0-6 start.
Coming up right after our game, college basketball live. We still have a minute to go in this Missouri Valley Conference. A couple of heavyweights going at it. Thought it would be a close game. That's exactly how it's played out. And yet Illinois State looking to pull off the shocking upset on the road. 72-67 with a chance to add to that lead with Brian Allen at the line.
Austin Chapman checking in for the Jays. He's in for number 24, Nevin Johnson.
The hottest team in the Valley appears to be serving notice right now that they are back in the hunt.
Allen drops the first. He has 8, and the lead is up to 6.
Boy, has that rim been kind to Illinois State the last 2 shots?
Off the mark. Allen went after it and got it. Under a minute to go. And they finally get the foul on number 12, Jahens Manigat. College basketball live immediately following our contest here with 47.2 left. With Mark Adams, I'm Rich Hollenberg. And if you're just tuning in, you've missed a tough back and forth physical matchup between the preseason top 2 teams in the Missouri Valley, and they're playing like it tonight. Creighton still with a chance on their home floor. Gibbs knocks it down. Back-to-back threes from number 10 in white. Grant Gibbs, the senior out of Marion, Iowa. This capacity crowd not ready to go home and suffer the loss yet. 16th ranked Creighton, 9-3, looking for win number 21. If they lose, they fall into a virtual tie for first place with the Shockers and Indiana State. Only problem is they lost earlier this season to Wichita State.
Well, here's the bad news for Creighton, down 3. Here's the good news. You got the number 1 3-point shooting team in America. In the last 40 seconds of the game, that means that these types of possessions where you're down by 6, that is literally a 2-possession game for Creighton.
And it does bear mentioning, not only did Creighton lose to Wichita State, they also lost to Indiana State. So when you factor those 2 losses in, Creighton goes from a first-place team to a third-place team with this loss.
Still a lot of basketball to be played. 40 seconds. Huge possession right now.
And the crowd, the loudest it's been all night. No foul. And they get Johnny Hill, who will go to the line.
Blue Jay foul number 22, Avery Dingman, his second, the team's 9th.
Dan Muller's going to make a mental note on that full court pressure. Greg McDermott's going all out to get the steal. So who's open? The deep ball. Tyler Brown stepped to the basket. Who was actually open on the deep pass? Dan Muller's going to recognize that and remember that. A non-starter last season, Johnny Hill. Misses.
One possession ball game. Shot clock is off. Gibbs. In and out. Manigat for three. Way off the mark. Loose ball, we're going to have a foul, and it's going to Illinois State. Mark, how does Doug McDermott not touch the ball on that possession?
Redbirds into the double bonus.
I have no idea.
And now Illinois State in the double bonus, so they will shoot 2 free throws.
Johnny Hill to the free throw line, shooting 2.
It'll be Johnny Hill once again. A chance to make this a 2-possession ball game. Comley hits that one. He has 18, and the lead is 4 with 11.6 left.
And now if you're Creighton, say drive the balls directly to the basket, get your 2 first. As long a pass on the inbounds as possible.
It's a 5-point ball game, 10 seconds left.
Drive it.
Gibbs lost the handle, but they're going to get an Illinois State foul.
Illinois State foul number 32, Jackie Carmichael. That's his fourth. The team's 7th. Blue Jays into the bonus.
Blue Jays are in the bonus, so
Brandon
Gibbs will shoot
the line, shooting 1 and 1.
And should they lose this game tonight, Mark, you can point to the 3-point line as one of the major culprits. This is their fewest 3-point field goals this year and their lowest 3-point field goal percentage. Gibbs rattles it in.
Remember that long pass opportunity. It may present itself at a made free throw here for Illinois State.
Gibbs gets them both.
Timeout Blue Jays.
Timeout Blue Jays, 7.3 to go, and it's a 3-point game. Illinois State will have the ball with the lead. Stay tuned. Coming up next on ESPN2, College Basketball Live. We'll take you through the entire day. Some thrilling finishes across the nation, including this one here in Omaha. And Mark, we've had our fair share of close ball games, doing games this season together, and I think I know the answer, but let's tell America, do you foul in this situation if you're Creighton?
Well, first of all, Creighton's got to get a steal, and so they've got to go full court pressure right now. If I'm Illinois State and Dan Muller, I'm making a mental note about the long pass opportunity first. If it turns into a 3-point game where Illinois State is on defense with under 5 or 6 to go, with the number 1 3-point shooting team in the country, I think there's no question you foul in that situation.
Jackie Carmichael carried the day in the first half with 12 first-half points. It's been number 1 in red, Tyler Brown, who has been dominant in the second half. He has a game-high 27. And he is on the floor now with his Redbird teammates, looking to pull off what would arguably be the biggest win of the year for Dan Muller and company.
Dan Muller really stretching the defense, using the entire court. I like the look of this out-of-bounds play.
7.3 to go.
Wilkins is open deep.
And Allen, with precious few time left on the clock, gets a timeout. That's Illinois State's final timeout of the game. Well, Illinois State's been in their fair share of close games. As a matter of fact, their 7 losses in conference have come by a 7-point average. So they know what it's like to be in close contests, and at some point, the scale tips back in your favor. That could be tonight.
On the last out-of-bounds play, Dan Muller decided to use the entire court. You've only got 2 players up. The bad news is the back offensive players, look at them all coming to the basketball. They stretch the floor, come to the ball, and then go deep. Look for the pass over the top. You've always got to have one guy streaking for the home run and the win.
Well, the magic number here for the Creighton Blue Jays at CenturyLink Center, 78 points. They are 62-0 when they score 78. It's not going to happen tonight unless they tie it and go to overtime. Dan Muller, earlier in the day, we asked him, what's been the major reason for the turnaround, going from 0-6 to 5 of your last 6 wins? And he said, we're defending the basketball better.
Yeah, they bought in. They're defending and they're playing together. That's the difference with this talented Illinois State basketball team. Boy, if Johnny Hill runs straight back to the basket, he's open.
They get the ball into Hill. Allen breaks the pressure.
He double dribbled.
And they do call the double dribble. They're going to have to check the clock. John Wilkins was going to go in for an exclamation point dunk and decided to hold up. But I agree with you. You look at it, it looked like a double dribble. It's a question of how much time was left on the clock.
It was definitely before the horn. Watch John Wilkins. He basically concedes the basket. There, picks it up right there and puts it down.
There's about 0.6 or 0.7 left on the clock. What a bizarre turn of events.
Watch the clock and watch Wilkins grab the ball right there. That's the double dribble as he picks it up and dribbles again. There's about 1 second left in this game. So now the question becomes, up 3 with approximately a second to go or under, do you foul? The problem with that is, as soon as a Creighton player catches it, they're going to go in their shooting motion. So in this circumstance, you almost have to play defense. Unless you can make him catch the ball going away from the basket, then theoretically you could foul.
So right there is where they should freeze the clock?
Puts it back down to the ground. He dribbles it here. There. It's going to be just under 1 second.
So when he dribbles the basketball again,
that's correct.
That's where they stop the clock.
Because you can still catch it and stop, but he caught it and laid it down.
1 second is being
1 second.
1 second left on the clock. John Wilkins called for the traveling violation. It'll be Creighton ball, and they're going to inbounds it and have to go 94 feet for the win.
It'll be McDermott. It'll be McDermott, and Illinois State can't foul in this circumstance.
Rogge's going to inbounds. McDermott tried to come away with it. He comes up empty, wanted a foul, got none. And the Illinois State Redbirds shock the capacity crowd. Their first road win over a ranked team since Tulsa in 1985. The Redbirds have now won 6 of their last 7. Creighton is 3-4 in their last 7. And our final score once again is 75-72. The Redbirds win it. For my broadcast partner, Mark Adams, and the rest of our crew, I'm Rich Hollenberg saying goodnight from Omaha, Nebraska. Now let's send it to the studio for College Basketball Live.